Sandra was like a daughter to me. I can't imagine a mother doing this to a child.
Does an arrest mean closure?
There's never closure in something like this.
Beginning. Are you kidding?
Sandra Cantu's aunt and uncle reacting to the arrest of 28-year-old Melissa Huckabee for the murder, allegedly, of their niece. We're back talking about the latest developments in this sick and tragic case. Prosecutors now considering charging Ms. Huckabee with rape and molestation. That means she could face the death penalty. Back with my panel. The phone lines lighting up. Robert, Louisiana, your question or thought?
Evening, Jane, and thank you for the show. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
My question is, it's two quick questions, and they may tie in. Do we know how long that Sandra had been playing with Huckabee's daughter? Is it something that had been going on for a while?
And?
I would think that if that had happened before, that Sandra would probably be leery about going over. And if you look at that video, which it still disturbs me, if you show the video, she's happy-go-lucky, skipping, and it looks like she's coming toward the house, and then she stops and starts walking like almost like somebody got her attention to, hey, come here for a minute.
Wow, fascinating stuff. Bob Moffat, what do we know about this actual moment? What happened next after this beautiful child walked out of frame?
What do we know about after? Well, that's the key question, and that's what investigators have been trying to figure out is what happened to the little girl? Where did she go from there? Whose home did she enter? And that's why all these search warrants have been served, and including that Melissa Huckabee's house, at the neighbor's house, at her grandfather's house, the pastor, and then also at the church 2 times. The police have been to that church.
Let me jump in with these questions. What about reports that actually Melissa Huckabee, the suspect, had popped up at a vigil? And what about this crazy note I'm hearing about?
Well, there's a lot from Melissa Huckabee that she did when she was, she showed up at the vigil 2 nights after Sandra disappeared, and then talked to the press repeatedly. First to tell them about the suitcase, that she put it out on the curb, but then it mysteriously disappeared. But police, of course, say that they had never received a stolen item report. She also said that on the suitcase there was a note that had 3 cryptic words on it: a suitcase and Sandra and something else. And then she talked again on Friday. She's also talked to the press about her. You've mentioned the internal bleeding, and we've seen a number of these cases where someone's been killed.
What's that about? Internal bleeding? I don't really understand that.
Who does?
Okay.
But the question is, how many times did she make herself available to the public? Did she hang around? We've seen a lot of these cases where somebody was murdered, and then the murderer hung around and made themselves available to everyone before finally people started going, hey, aren't you paying a little bit too much attention to this?
Thomas Ruskin, what do you make of it?
That's not unusual. A lot of times when you're investigating a homicide, at the scene of the homicide, you'll say to your detectives, do me a favor, let's shoot the crowd that's hanging around to maybe later put the murderer right there at the scene. The murderer a lot of times wants to be around to watch and see what police are doing. Remember, they're the center of attraction at that point in time. In their mind, they want to see what the police are doing and if the police are doing exactly what they expect the police to do.
There's an old saying, the criminal returns to the scene of the crime.
Right.
Drew Findling, how does this impact the case? I mean, as you hear all these facts, what are you seeing in terms of the case?
Well, look, I think that we're really jumping the gun, and I appreciate you saying that right now she is just alleged to have done this. But, we're talking about eliminating the insanity defense and whether she knows the difference between right or wrong. Hey, we don't know. We know that there are some really, really bad circumstantial evidence here right now. But we don't know what her mental condition is. We can't distinguish. We can't tell that she can't distinguish between right and wrong. We can't make these decisions. We didn't even know who she was 72 hours ago. Now, it is true that quite often a perpetrator will hang out at a scene. That is recognized by the Department of Justice and crime scene investigation handbooks. But we just don't know enough yet to point the finger at her.
Drew's right. Absolutely, everybody's presumed to be innocent. We're hearing, however, and assuming it's true, that post-Miranda, after arrest, she waived her rights and she spoke freely about this. We're hearing reports that she confessed, and I know that's, it's premature at this point, but they absolutely are passionate about their belief that she did this. And again, we don't know, but again, with a possible confession, assuming that to be the belief, then we have a right
when she's arraigned tomorrow, we might hear more, right? Dawn in Washington, your question or thought?
Hi, Jane. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I was wondering if maybe Melissa Huckabee might have a history of sexual abuse or something like that.
Well, Dr. Gail Saltz, what creates, assuming that this is true and our lawyers are right, these are just allegations. She hasn't even been arraigned, meaning formally charged yet. But what brings a person hypothetically to this point if it's true?
Well, it's an excellent question, and very often in the history of women who have either killed children or women who have sexually abused children, there is a history of either sexual or physical abuse. So that wouldn't be surprising if this turns out to be the case.
Bob Moffat, only a couple of seconds tomorrow. Arraignment, what time and what do we expect?
1:30 in Stockton, and hopefully we can expect to have a much clearer picture of what was going through her mind that 2 Fridays ago when a little 8-year-old girl disappeared.
This is just such a disturbing case. You know, when the caller asked me if I'm doing okay, yes I am, but I've got a pit in my stomach having to read all this stuff and think about that poor child. I'm sure all of you at home and the panel feel the same way. Thank you to my excellent panel. Turning to another